Hello internet, my name is Lave and I watched M. Night Shyamalan's new flick, Split, and the rumours are true. He's made a decent film again. Good form, good form. So this film stars Anya Taylor-Joy as a girl called Casey, who is a bit of an emo kid who, along with two of her sort of friends, gets kidnapped by a guy called Kevin, played by James McAvoy, who suffers from a personality disorder in which 23 different identities take over his consciousness and control of his body. Once he's captured the girls and they realise that he's got this disorder, they actually try to form alliances with the friendlier personalities in the hope that he will actually help them escape. It's a great premise, and as a psychological thriller, I have to say it really works, and I think it also works as a horror as well. Maybe not as much as I'd hoped, but overall, I think he's back. Shyamalan's back. So let's talk about some performances. Well, I really liked Anya Taylor-Joy. I've recently seen her in The Witch, which is being played on UK television at the moment. She's great in that, and she's great in this too. Of the three girls that are captured, she is the one that is developed the most through the use of flashbacks, and I think it's utilised really well. She's quite a messed up kid as well. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but I was really satisfied with her character. The other two are a bit disposable. I think the film is at its most cliched when it follows them, but they do serve a function. But let's not get sidetracked here, because this movie is all about James McAvoy. He delivers such a great performance, or performances. Try to imagine if Norman Bates had a love child with Francis Dolarhyde, or the Tooth Fairy, or the Red Dragon, whatever you want to call him. That is his character in this. He absolutely brings it. Anyone who has seen James McAvoy in a film called Filth will know that he can flick a switch at any moment, and he gets to do a similar thing in this film as well, except on a much bigger scale and with much more room to play. Unfortunately, you don't get to see all 23 of his personalities. Logistically, I don't think that is possible. You get to see all of their names, but you only really get to know about 5 or 6 of them, and they all have their own distinct mannerisms and personalities. He's so good in this. It's so good how he bounces between them. I love the fact that they describe themselves as coming into the light when they are inhabiting his body, and then the others go into the dark. It's such a fantastic physical performance from him as well. He is really scary at some point. Definitely my favourite character that he plays is a 9-year-old kid called Hedwig, who's got a bit of a lisp and keeps saying etc. I think that's where him and Shyamalan are having most of the fun. Yeah, McAvoy definitely had the most fun with that character, and possibly even another character called Patricia. Wake up, sleepyhead. As I say, I think the film works really well as a psychological, kidnapping, claustrophobic thriller, but it does get broken up with regular visits to his therapist, Dr. Fletcher, played by Betty Buckley. Now, her character is essentially there to deliver exposition, which does get a bit annoying at times, but they do share a couple of awesome scenes where she's trying to find out more about his different personalities, and she makes a breakthrough and talks to one of the alpha personalities called Dennis, who reveals that there might be a 24th personality trying to break out. Now, I want to go back to talk about M. Night Shyamalan again, because I definitely think he is back on form in this film. I do think he's a great director who's got a fantastic understanding of using the mise-en-scene, just in the way that he sets up his shots and the way that he uses his camera. Sometimes I think his films can feel a little bit too staged, but with this film, he's totally on fire. Everything seems to be clicking. He achieves some fantastic shots here, sometimes by just doing the simplest thing. He uses some POV handheld shots to some really good effect, but then he also knows when to let it linger on a character so that we can really study their emotions, particularly in the scene when the therapist is talking to Dennis. But I do have to point out that he also wrote this film, much like many of his other films, and sometimes I feel like he can walk a fine line between taking a really good concept and making it cool or making it really corny. And I have to admit, there were a few occasions in this film where I thought, oh, I wish they didn't do that. It just felt like it was teetering on the side of a bit silly, particularly as the rest of the film felt believable and gritty. But then something happens and you see a larger picture. Now, I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but when I first saw it, I thought, I'm not sure on that. But then after sleeping on it, I woke up this morning, I thought, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, Shyamalan can still deliver some surprises. So that's my thoughts on Split, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. Overall, I really enjoyed this film. I thought it worked really well as a psychological thriller. It is a horror as well, but I didn't think it was as scary as they've advertised it to be. But it definitely has its moments, and Shyamalan definitely benefits from having really good actors like James McAvoy. He absolutely kills it in this. I definitely recommend you go and see it, particularly if you're a fan of M. Night Shyamalan. He's back and it's great to see. So thanks very much for watching my review of Split. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give this video a like and don't forget to share the lave, etc, etc. Subscribe.